I'm Christophe Pourny. I'm the author of the Furniture Bible. I started working on this book 4 years ago. I was asked actually to do a Furniture Bible, and I thought I knew what I was going to write about, but where it took me is actually much larger. And I'm very happy to be in a place like Wynwood Lab, which is a place of experience, of meeting, of communication, of unexpected, because this is a little bit what I discovered about my life and my experience with the Furniture Bible. My background is antiques, has always been antiques. I'm the son of an antique dealer from the south of France. So I don't want to say my life was all already determined or projected, but I was supposed to take over my father's business and continue his legacy. In a way, I'm doing the same thing today, but it took me through the south of France, Switzerland, Paris, New York. And this is what art is about. And this is why furniture is an art as well as sculpture, painting, and plenty of other material and mediums. When you have a space like Wynwood Lab, you realize that every person that has an experience, a desire, or a passion for a material, for a graphism, for a style, for anything that is not where you find a second reason for this material, for this medium, for this color to be, this is where your experience is going to get you to unexpected and art. I never wanted to follow my father's footsteps. It just happened that when I moved to New York, I was already 20 something. That was the best way for me to make a living, and I found unexpected clients, unexpected styles of furniture which I didn't know, and I created from there a new life with new expectations, recording or remembering backgrounds and stuff that I knew but I had forgotten. So I built a life on that, and when I started writing the book, it was not just about techniques of refinishing furniture or restoring furniture, but it was about all the stuff that I had as a baggage, as heritage, that I was actually giving to the world. And it takes always, some ways that are unexpected, as I said, and this is what art is. If not, you may be a good worker, you may be a good technician, but this is not art. You can take everything, metal, wood, anything actually, and do the unexpected with this material, and then it becomes art. And I like a place like Wynwood Lab because you find things that have names, like a chair, like a rug, like a table, but what people have done with them as artists is unexpected, is new, is treated in a different way, a personal way, and this is when function is transcended by art. And you can do that with your life, you can do that with furniture, and I think actually, in my personal case, refinishing furniture, restoring furniture, adding your special touch to furniture, to antiques, to something that already exists, was my way to create, was my way to be an artist. And I'm very happy that somebody one day said, Christophe, I think this is the moment to write a book, because I think he knew why I should write a book much more than I did know. I thought I was, as I said, going to write a book only on a couple of techniques. And the publisher right away said, like, no, we want something much larger. And I expanded the realms of techniques, of styles, of history of furniture, but what I actually extended was giving what I had to give. And this is where you find the relation between function and art. This is where you find the relation between you and others. Art is an unbelievable medium, and you cannot predict what is going to happen, what is going to be the link, what is going to be the experience. And when you have a place like here, or when I'm invited to speak, TV, or do a spread on a magazine, or to explain something, or even people calling and asking, what do I do, how I do that? This is where relationship happens, when somebody's asking and somebody is giving. And in Europe, for example, where we are much more traditional, people would not consider sometimes furniture and restoration as art, but more like decorative arts, which places them a little under art. But the untraditional way that I discovered it here in the United States, the fact that I didn't follow a classical training, the fact that everything is new in this country, that you don't even know from one year to another how things are going to be, transcends the fact that it's just a technique, or that it's something that has to be one way, that you have to respect the styles, you have to respect some things, and becomes really art. And that's why I think it's very, very important to talk about that, to continue with traditions, with antiques, with furniture, and to finally, get things out of the, as we say in French, out of the dust, to dust everything up a little bit. Antiques have always been and always had a tricky aspect, in the sense that you need wealth, or you need tradition, or everybody can actually take a piece of furniture from the curb, from heirloom, from the store, and transform it and make it unique, and make it its own, have an own relationship with it, and be the only person in the world that is actually own that piece. And in a day where everything is standard, everything is mass-produced, I think it's very important to have maybe just one piece, if you're not specifically a collector, to have one piece of furniture, one piece in your home that you are the only one to have. And you don't need to spend tons and tons of money to have this experience. As I said, furniture and what you live around with. Furniture can be really the way you discover art, or you go through life with art. One of the most prestigious projects that I had the pleasure and privilege to work on is the restoration of George Washington's writing desk, which is in New York City Hall. New York used to be the capital of the United States before it was transferred to Washington. And George Washington started his presidency in New York, and then was transferred or went to Washington. The desk stayed in New York City, was lost, stored somewhere, nobody knew exactly where, and brought back to life in the 20th century, and needs constant restoration or upkeeping or refinishing or conservation. And I was called about 15 years ago to start looking after the piece, taking care of it. So regularly, as with a patient, we do a checkup and we check on it. And that is one of the most one of the luckiest moments that I had, to be finally confronted with that. Moments, as I was saying, when you realize, wow, my experience brought me in an unexpected place. My parents' store was not really the traditional kind of store. It was not in a town, it was in the country. It was in a big house with a garden all around. And my parents had a lot of pickers, people that would buy stuff and bring them to my parents. And it was not specialized in the sense that my father would do only 18th century furniture or French provincial. They had a passion for everything that was old. So if somebody had an old car to sell, he would buy it. If there was some tombstones, if there was some wax mannequins, if there was some stuffed birds, some ironwork, everything was bought and was brought to the store. And everybody in the region, and even from Paris, would come and visit the place because you never knew what you were going to find and what you were going to come out of the store with. It was a unique experience because from time to time, on top of having all these pieces one by one brought to the house, my father at some points always had some estates that he would buy, some old families that would give up the castle, sell a big mansion. And at that time, the antique dealer would buy everything in the house. And when I say everything, it's everything. And my father at some point would be given the key of the house, and he had 1 week or 2 weeks to have all the people that were working with him to empty the house and move everything out. For 1 or 2 weeks, I was the owner of everything that was in this house. The costumes, the jewelry that was left behind, the drapes, the furniture. I could recreate a world with everything that was mine or my father's, and create a new life and a new story as long as everything was together, and then everything was dispersed, of course, through the store. Everything is connected in furniture and decorative arts. If a style if a form exists, it's because it is in relation to everything that happens at the time it is created. There is a reason why there are cabriole elegant legs in the 18th century. It's because there is a political reaction to the Sun King, who was very authoritarian and absolute. And the 18th century, right after, wanted things to be a little more fun and light, so cabriole legs are more fun and more light. There is a reason why neoclassical furniture is very strict and simple line, because it's a reaction from what existed before. And this continues even today. The fact that you have mid-century furniture recreated now is a reaction to some furniture from the 90s or 80s that were too exuberant. So everything you see as a reason and is in relation with everything of its own time, and not just fashion and not just art, traditional art, but furniture is part of that movement also. And as I said, the unexpected can take you really to places you would never have thought. There are tons of finishes that existed and have been lost or went out of fashion. And one day you have a client that's going to call you and say, like, do you do this or that? And you don't. And you find how to do it, and it takes you to some new places. And that happened with straw marqueterie, which is a finish that existed first in the 18th century, that was then rediscovered at the beginning of the 20th century in France by a designer called Jean-Michel Franck. And it is literally pieces of straw, rye straw, that are treated, flattened and ironed, and then are put on a surface, a wood surface, a substrate, to create some motif, some inlay, some marqueterie. And I was asked that. I didn't know exactly, I knew what it was, of course, because of my background, but I made sure that I gathered all the elements of techniques, and we became really, really a specialist of this technique, of this art. So that is that is where the unexpected and where the moment, you know, can take you, you know, to and give you a total new direction in your life for a couple of years. Maybe it's not going to last, and maybe there's going to be another technique that is going to come and take you somewhere else. This is a piece of furniture by Erin V, great furniture designer, who's represented, whose furniture are in Wynwood in the showroom. And it is a perfect example of old traditional finishes and techniques that are brought back to life nowadays. This is a finish called ceruse, and you can see there is some white pigment that is caught in the grain of the wood with another color of background. And this originally was a finish that was lead paint and lead material that was rubbed onto wood to protect it from insect bugs and any kind of parasites. And this traditional and functional technique has been rediscovered in the beginning of the 20th century and transformed into a decorative purpose. So the traditional and functional aspect of the finish is actually giving way to its decorative function, which is beautiful. So you're going to have actually a piece of wood with very open grain, like oak or ash. It's going to be wire brushed. The grain is going to open a lot. You are going to rub your pigment in it, and you're going to create a difference of tone and color between the background and the grain of the wood. And that's another great artistic development, you know, from purely traditional and functional techniques.